A soft theater bell seems to linger in the air. A single snatch of a retro Khmer song hums as if from down a long corridor. What does a single flickering frame remember about a city? What does the rhythm of an old cinema tell us about the lives that gathered there each night? Today, we try to answer that by listening closely to the traces left behind.
Listen closely. The memory of a whole neighborhood can live in the way people laughed at a comedian, the hat a heroine wore, or the chorus everyone hummed on their way home. The deeper story is in those small details, and today we unpack that together.
Welcome to Ancient Echoes. I'm Samnang Bradley, and with me is my co-host Rachana Solve. In this episode, Real Memories, we dive into Cambodia's cinematic golden age, the studio systems, the touring picture houses, the singers who became movie stars, and the grassroots revival work that's bringing fragments back to life.
We'll weave together oral histories, recovered posters, and audio fragments donated by families and archives. We'll also hear from archivists and filmmakers, not always through live interviews here, but through the voices and documents they've left behind. And we'll give practical steps for listeners who might find old reels in their attics.
Before we begin, a gentle content note. As we talk about gaps and losses in film collections, some recollections may be tender. We'll keep the focus on cultural recovery and the technical work of preservation, rather than graphic historical accounts. If you want to explore the visuals we mention, check the episode notes and Samnang's YouTube for curated clips and posters.
Segment 1. Early Screens and Studio Life. Imagine Phnom Penh in the 1950s and 60s. Open-air film booths and market squares, neighborhood theaters that filled with families on the weekend, and small studios where directors, singers, and dressmakers argued over a single costume sketch. The layers matter. Film was not a distant elite art. It was woven into daily fashion, radio playlists, and the gossip on the street.
Yes, local studios produced stories that felt immediate. Melodramas, comedies, musicals. Directors worked tightly with musicians. A hit song could guarantee a film success. Theaters were social places. You didn't just watch a film, you experienced an evening together. That communal viewing shaped shared memory, and it's why when a reel vanishes, an entire network of stories begins to fray.
I was reading an old interview with a projectionist who said people came not only for the film, but to see how their friends dressed for the evening. In that way, movies set dress codes and dance moves. The cultural significance is huge. These films were everyday mirrors.
At this point, we play in our minds an archival audio fragment, a crowd's applause rising as the heroine steps onto the screen, a radio announcer reciting the latest film's tune. Even when images are gone, these sonic ghosts help us reconstruct scenes, the cadence of applause, the rhythm of a city's night.
Segment 2. The Golden Pop Era. From the 1960s into the early 70s, cinema and pop music braided together. Many singers became screen idols. Songs drove box office, and radio shaped star personas. The research tells us that production was collaborative. Composers, screenwriters, and costume makers spoke directly with audiences through market tastes. That's why restoring a soundtrack can change how we understand a whole film.
Consider a popular duet that played on the radio for months. When it appears in a film, it anchors a scene, and later generations remember the melody even when the image is missing. Reconstructing that music is often the first step to bringing a lost clip back into life.
And there's the matter of star personas. Actors who toured with bands, singers who doubled as leading ladies. Their costumes and gestures became templates for fashion in small towns. What emerges here is not just glamour, but a network of livelihoods tied to cinema, tailors, projectionists, ticket vendors. That's why archives sometimes discover whole social histories in a single lobby card.
Segment 3. Breaks, Gaps, and Memory. We stay gentle here. Film collections became fragmented for many reasons: decay, neglect, displacement, and the simple fragility of cellulose and acetate. Oral memory often fills those gaps, but it comes with its own shapes, memories that emphasized what mattered most to people.
The evidence shows us that when reels vanished, families kept other traces: sheet music, song lyrics, postcards, even ticket stubs. These objects help us map scenes that no longer exist on film. Let me contextualize with a small example. An old lobby card we recently cataloged shows a costume detail that matched a consumer ad from the same year. From that tiny connection, we could infer the film's audience and marketing reach.
We're mindful not to sensationalize loss. Instead, we focus on recovery, how oral histories, family-shared recordings, and diaspora collections act as living archives. I've heard testimonies from community members who describe the way a song made their mother dance when she thought no one was watching. Those moments guide preservation work as much as technical notes do.
Segment 4. Preservation in Practice. Here's what archivists tell us. First, identify the format. Is it 8mm, Super 8, 16mm, or a degraded acetate print? Handle film by the edges. Keep it cool and dry, and never, ever play a brittle reel on a projector without checking its condition. Digitization is more accessible now. Scanning at higher resolution preserves more detail, but good metadata, who, when, where, makes that digital file discoverable.
A quick primer. 8mm and Super 8 were common for home movies. 16mm and 35mm were used in studios and theaters. Vinegar syndrome is a chemical decay we watch for. The film smells sharp and shrinks, and that needs urgent stabilization. Many community groups now photograph posters and digitize audio first because those steps are lower cost, then work towards scanning fragile reels when funding allows.
Ethics matter here. Who owns a reel recovered in the diaspora? Archivists emphasize consent and collaboration. Document where materials came from, ask families what level of access they want, and center local communities in decisions about sharing. From a cultural standpoint, this is foundational to respectful preservation.
Segment 5. Revival Stories. Across Cambodia and in diaspora communities, small screenings have become moments of repair. People bring photographs, hum songs, and sometimes a short clip flickers on the screen. The audience gasps as a familiar street scene reappears. That gasp is meaningful. Reconstructed soundtracks have led to renewed interest in particular composers, and in some cases, to the re-release of restored fragments online for younger generations to discover.
Diaspora archives are a vital piece of this puzzle. Families who emigrated often carried reels and recordings overseas. When those materials surface, local archivists and community groups collaborate to digitize and contextualize them. The pattern shows us that preservation is rarely top-down. It's born from many hands working together.
Segment 6. Practical Guide. If you're listening and you think you might have something in an attic, here's a quick checklist. Look for metal or cardboard film cans, small reels labeled with dates or names, cassette tapes, vinyl records with film songs, and paper artifacts like posters or scripts. Photograph everything. Note who gave it to you. Keep items flat and cool, and reach out to a trusted archive before attempting to play anything.
And if you're ready to act, tag Ancient Echoes and Samnang's YouTube with photos or short audio clips, but always check privacy with family first. Donate copies, not originals, when possible. If you need help identifying format or condition, contact local heritage groups. Many offer guidance and can point you to accredited preservation partners.
We'll include links in the show notes to digitization guides, a watch list of accessible restored clips, and community archives that accept donations. Remember, small acts, a labeled box, a careful photograph, a shared song can change what future generations will know about everyday life in Cambodia's cinematic past.
Before we go, a quick listening recommendation. If you want to feel the texture of these films, start with accessible restorations and radio recordings. Let the music lead you back into the grooves. The cultural significance is in how these pieces connected to ordinary lives, so follow the songs, the posters, and the family stories.
Thank you for joining us for this deep listen into Cambodia's cinematic memory. We're grateful to archivists, filmmakers, and families who shared fragments and stories. Keep exploring with us, and as we say on Ancient Echoes, let's unlock the echoes of history together.